goes on. Hey guys, Ryan here with Mantis Defense. Today we're going to talk about the lead and steel PB-3. For disclaimer purposes, we did receive this PB-3 Pandora's box for free. We are not paid, we are not endorsed by this company though. We asked for this optic so that we could do an honest review of it. Let's backtrack. We have a Centurion arm slide. This was originally cut for an acro. We got this so that we could put a Steiner MPS on it, which we have in our personal collection. We really like that optic. We did a couple videos showcasing it. That'll stay that way. This optic, we went and mounted it to that slide. We did find that with the original clamp and the original screw that the optic was camming, it was lifting a little bit. It's just the way the angles are cut, and so when it actually dives in and it's really tight, like you're really cranking it on, it started to lift the optic. So it was tight, but it was camming the optic so it wasn't flush and it was rotated over a little bit. So because of that, I wasn't super stoked about really trying to beat this up and really test it, but we did shoot it. It held at 0, it held fine from regular normal range use and shooting use. Okay, now enter the rest of this. So we have a Gen 4 slide for a 19. We got an Overwatch Precision acro mount, and then we also have the Business End Customs Bruta slide right here. So both of these are cut for the acro. As you guys can see, the lead and steel PB-3 is cut for an acro footprint. It is not cut for an RMR, Delta Point Pro, anything like that. So it is a mailbox styled optic. It is a enclosed emitter. It has sacrificial lens on the front and the rear. There are 2 screws on the front, 2 screws on the rear. We believe those are sacrificial, so if something were to happen, you would probably just send this into the company. They'll replace that if they had to, because it does come with a lifetime warranty. What's great about that lifetime warranty is, in parentheses, it actually includes electronics, while a lot of companies normally don't. So I would assume that if your emitter had some sort of issue, they'd probably take care of it. On the side right here, it takes a CR2032 battery. You can get about 30,000 hours of battery life out of it. When you go onto their website, in the box you'll find this card. You scan that QR code, it takes you to the PDF installation file. That installation file will list all the different lengths of battery life based on the power setting that you're at. To adjust the power and brightness, there are 2 arrows on the top. One is down, one is up. When you turn the optic on, it'll go back to the last reverted setting that you turned it off at. 7 of these settings are for daylight, 3 are for night vision. The housing itself is made from 7075 T6 aluminum. It has serrations that have been added onto the top for extra traction, as well as it only weighs 2.3 ounces. The turrets on the sides and the top for windage and elevation, these are felt clicks. I think that they're audible, but some people might argue with me on that, but I can feel the clicks, which is nice. They are soft though, so it does make you feel a little concerned that the screws would come out or that they would work their way loose during the shooting process. We witness marked them. They didn't come loose at all during our shooting process. Other parts about this whole getting to where we are today. The optic originally came with this plate and this screw, okay? And because of communicating with the owner of the company and the company itself, they went and redesigned the clamp. I don't know if that was just for us or if that was for other people as well, but these optics will now be shipping with the new clamp and the new screw, which is a little bit better. So if you're buying it after watching this video, you'll have the updated clamps and screws. But either way, it's pretty cool that a company went above and beyond to go ahead and make a new one, as well as they shipped me an extra set because I asked for an extra set so that I could try to make it fit to my Centurion slide. And eventually it just turned into me sending them my Centurion slide anyways. So, we actually went and did some footage where we wanted to see how durable this actually is. The way we did it, we did some one-handed manipulations. We did a very basic 0 on it. Let's go ahead and run a couple rounds. I guess paper for accuracy. Yep, stacking in the same spot. I'm aiming over on the left side of that 7. So, good. All right. 2 rounds left in there. Drop it a couple more times. Two drops. Battery cap is the same. Elevation screw, windage screw are the same. Mount screw is the same. 2 rounds. Aim for the same place. Same impact. We actually forgot though to bring the air socket and the air attack mount to show these mounted on rifle as well as shot on a rifle. We have done that in our previous footage, like when we were testing the PWS rifle and things like that, but for some reason I actually didn't record that, or I never imported the footage, so it's lost. I forgot to bring those mounts today, so we were only able to mount this onto the 2 slides for the footage today and for the shooting. It's pretty humid out today as well, and so because of that, the humidity really was making it hard for me to see, especially on the closed emitter with glasses, with water, all these other things going on. Optic is still on. I can't see anything through my glasses though. There's so much freaking water on these from the humidity and everything. So. What? Yep. But overall, I think the optic performed pretty well. It performed well in terms of it kept a tight group on the paper, and it shot the steel as well. Paper error, steel error are probably me. So, when we shot this on the Bruta from BUC, this was mounted up. We went to the 25 inch-pounds, that is max. So we used a Wheeler fat wrench. 25 inch-pounds is the max for that screw. We then witness marked everything. We witness marked the battery cap. We witness marked the elevation and the windage turrets, as well as the mount screw. During the one-handed manipulation, we were really trying to go hard on this optic to really beat it up. I was hoping to break something. I was actually really trying to see if something would break on this. Nothing is broken. I don't see any cracks or any leaks or anything of that nature. And so the only thing that occurred was the optic started to get a little loose, okay? Under further investigation, the screw had not changed, the witness mark was still the same, but underneath, the mount itself has gotten damaged on the inside. So on the left side of the optic from the shooter's window, so if we're behind the gun, on the left side there are 2 marks that are underneath in this aluminum now from the slide itself eating into it from it being slammed. When you mount any red dot, you mount it, you preload it to the front for recoil, and so obviously we're going the opposite direction by slamming the slide, so it's going to force it to the rear. So even though it's a tight cut, at some point it was able enough to move it to the rear, which caused it to get loose. I was able to retighten it, repeat that process. All right, let's switch it up. We're gonna go to one-hand manipulation. That's 6. No turns, no changes. Let's go ahead and give it another 4 to make it 10. There's 4. That third one's pretty heavy. Front of it is now getting pretty eaten up. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's go, well, I guess same spot, theoretically. Looks like it's patterning a little to the left. All right, so the optic is loose now after I was smacking that pretty fucking hard. A little bit of play here. There's 25 and it's tight now. So there's no movement again. Interesting. So let's take it off real quick. So you can see right here, the witness marks are not the same anymore. You can see where we chipped a little bit of the inside. We'll show this later. There's a little bit of a chip there now. This still is tight. So there's a little bit of a gouge in the mount up here as well now. So that's probably from the impact of us smacking it really hard. But overall, it's holding up. So let's re-zero it, or recheck it, I guess. After we get to 25, make sure the optic's pushed forward. 1. There we go. Go for some steel, just to ring it. Dead nut center. We then added the water torture test by just putting this in water. I can't swim this down to 10 meters. So the whole thing though was we wanted to see if we could shake the housing up by, you know, beating it up and then submerging it, seeing if any water got inside of this housing, shooting it again, seeing if anything would come loose or get jarred during that recoil process. And overall, we were very impressed. This optic has stayed on the entire time, and I would highly recommend checking these guys out. Got it? Cool. All right. Still on. Optic is still on. Optic is still on. Now it's loose though. All right, I think we finally got the mount to fail a little bit, but the optic itself hasn't let any water in or anything like that. All right, so the screw is not rotated. What's most likely happened is that the slide has now actually cut into the optic mount itself on the interior. Again, these have been pretty aggressive hits and drops on it. I'm pretty sure if we tighten it, I toss it up in the air, let it land, pick it up and shoot it, it would be just fine. But because of me impacting it directly like that, like really hard, that's why it's coming loose. Toss it. It's still holding a 0, so we'll definitely agree with that. We have another mag here. Let's go ahead and toss it. Battery cap has not changed. Elevation or windage screws have not changed. Mount screw we didn't reco witness, so I'm not sure. But the optic is still holding about the same, it looks like. The optic is still tight to the frame. Let's go ahead and toss it one more time. The optic is still tight. Looks like the frame ate most of that one. Cool. All right. Okay. Getting a little loose. Optic is still on. Optic is on. Optic's a little loose, but thing's steel. I think lead and steel, they say a lot about themselves in terms of they're very open, they're very honest. I went on Reddit and read a little bit about what the owner had to say on his thread as well as some other threads. And overall, I'm impressed. This optic, I believe right now is on sale. So if anything, check these guys out. Definitely something worth looking at. As always, guys, I'm Ryan with Mantis Defense. Stay safe, shoot straight. All right, guys, we're gonna do one more test on it before we call it quits. Everything is tight, I think, except that screw on the side. And I really shouldn't do it this way because this is kind of unfair to not have it on a slide, but we're going to spike this on the ground. Right now it's on setting 6, the dot is on, okay? And I'm not gonna go back down to the range and test it right now, but we're gonna just smack it and see what happens. still on. And I saw some powder, whether that was the ground or the optic. Oh, it was the optic housing. It's on the bottom corner. All right, let's give it one more. We're gonna try to hit it on the front one more time. There goes the mount, the screw. Oh, it wasn't the mount. What did we break? What did we break? I think I just took out part of the ground. Still on?
Still on.
Yeah, still on, setting 6. Ready? Are you locked?